Hey there, book lovers. Today we are going to delve into the story of the real Little Mermaid, a timeless fairy tale penned by Hans Christian Andersen in 1837. So grab your fins and scuba gear, and to the depth of the sea we go. And by the way, this is Lit in a nutshell. If you want to learn about books, literature, and discover new stories, start now by subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything, because that's what our entire YouTube channel is about. Now, let's dive in. Deep down at the bottom of the sea live the mermen and mermaids. 6 sisters live there, all of them princesses, the youngest of whom is quieter and more thoughtful than her older siblings. Each of the mermaids has their own little garden under the sea, but whereas the others decorate theirs with all sorts of things they have salvaged from shipwrecks that have drifted to the bottom of the sea, the Little Mermaid has just some roses and the statue of a beautiful boy. They are all intrigued by the world beyond the sea, but this youngest sister, the Little Mermaid of the story's title, is more interested in the world above the sea than her other sisters. The sisters are looked after by their grandmother, who tells them that when a mermaid reaches the age of 15, she can rise to the surface of the water and explore the world above the surface. In turn, each of the sisters reaches that age and goes up to the surface, returning below the sea to tell her sisters what she has seen. When it's finally the turn of the Little Mermaid, she notices a ship which contains royalty. The people on board are celebrating the birthday of a handsome prince. The Little Mermaid is instantly attracted to him. There is a storm, and the ship sinks. The Little Mermaid is initially delighted when she sees the prince sinking beneath the water, as it means he can join her. But then she remembers that humans cannot survive underwater, so she rescues him and takes him to shore at a temple, where some novice girls appear, and one of them restores the prince to consciousness. The mermaid sinks back under the water, with the prince entirely unaware of her existence or that she has saved his life. The Little Mermaid asks her grandmother about humans. She learns that humans don't live as long as mermen, who can live for up to 300 years, but that they do have immortal souls which float up to heaven when they die, unlike the mermen who don't have souls. The Little Mermaid says she would trade 300 years of life as a mermaid for one day as a human, if it meant she would have a soul and live forever. The grandmother tells her not to think about such things, because the only way a mermaid could gain a soul is if a human loved her so much that his soul would merge with her and she would gain one. But the Little Mermaid realizes that she so loves the handsome prince that she could give anything to be with him and gain an immortal soul. So she goes to visit the one woman who might help her, the Sea Witch. The Sea Witch says she will make the Little Mermaid a potion which the mermaid must take onto land with her and drink. It will turn her fish's tail into 2 human legs, and she will not be able to transform back into a mermaid again. It will also hurt her every time she walks. If the handsome prince does not marry her, she will not gain an immortal soul, and she will die and become foam upon the water, as is the fate of soulless mermen, the day the prince marries another. The Little Mermaid is so desperate to marry the prince and gain a soul that she readily agrees, despite this gamble. She also agrees to the Sea Witch's demand for a payment, which is to possess the mermaid's beautiful singing voice. This means the Little Mermaid will be able to become a woman, but a mute one, unable to sing or speak. She floats up to the surface and drinks the potion and falls unconscious. When she wakes, the handsome prince is standing over her, asking her where she came from, but because the Sea Witch has taken her tongue, she cannot answer. He takes her into the palace and finds her the finest clothes to wear, and her beauty is much admired by everyone at court. She grows closer to the prince, but at night she often sees her sisters, who float up to the surface and tell her how she saddened them when she left them behind. The Little Mermaid learns that the prince is fond of her, but has fallen in love with the pretty girl at the temple who brought him back to consciousness on the night of the shipwreck. Unaware that the Little Mermaid was the one who dragged him to shore, he thinks that the novice girl at the temple saved his life. Being mute, the mermaid cannot tell him that she was the one who saved him. The prince is told to undertake a voyage to a neighboring kingdom because his parents wish him to marry the princess in that kingdom to forge an alliance. The Little Mermaid undertakes the journey with him, and when the princess appears, it turns out to be the very girl who had found the unconscious prince on the temple steps the night the Little Mermaid had saved his life. Believing the princess to be the one who had saved him, the prince declares his love for her, and they travel home to his kingdom to be married. The Little Mermaid realizes that having failed to gain a human's love, she will die the next morning without having gained a soul. Heartbroken, the Little Mermaid is traveling back on the prince's ship when her sisters appear above the water, their hair cut off. They know their sister's fate and tell her that they have sacrificed their hair to the sea witch in exchange for a magical dagger, which they hand to their sister. The Little Mermaid must plunge it into the heart of the prince so that his blood will touch the Little Mermaid's feet and merge them together to form a fish's tail. Then, she can dive back under the water and be with her sisters and her grandmother, who is at her wit's end. But when the mermaid sees the prince and his bride sleeping together in his tent on the ship, she cannot go through with it and hurls the dagger into the sea before diving overboard and dispersing into foam on the surface of the water. Her spirit floats up into the air, and she is informed by other mermaid spirits or daughters of the air that, whilst they cannot gain a soul, they have a chance to do so if they provide a useful service to the world by bringing cooling breezes to the hot winds in warmer parts of the globe. Although her story ends tragically, the Little Mermaid's sacrifice shows the power of love and the importance of doing good deeds in life. The Little Mermaid holds a special place for us in the Lit family, as it is a story that's both tragic and happy, a paradoxical spell. The mermaid may not have won the prince's hand, but she did learn that there's life beyond being a mermaid, and her kind actions did carry some reward. Andersen's ending is bittersweet, but it's mature and realistic. We can't make people love us if they don't, and we have to live with that fact. The best we can do is to act well towards them and the world at large. The story's final sentences may seem odd, but the conclusion manages to be both satisfying and unexpected. Andersen initially ended the story with the mermaid's dissolution on the surface of the waves, but he revised it to give it a more hopeful conclusion. The Little Mermaid's tears of happiness when she learns she has become a daughter of the air confirm what we have suspected all along, that what she really wants is a soul, and she sees the prince as her chance to gain one. The story invites many interpretations, and it's more than just a love story or a tragedy. It's a tale that contains many different meanings beneath its symbols and plot details. It's a story about love, immortality, selflessness, religion, and even feminism. But that's just our opinion about it, and we want to hear yours down in the comments. Do you agree with our analysis? Let us know. We love to hear from you. Now, if you just like talking books with us, clicking the like button is all you gotta do. It really helps us out. And if you're new, consider subscribing, because we put out 2 or 3 videos every single week. But as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.